Of all the artists to come out of Sun Records, one great songwriter had songs recorded by Johnny Cash, who called him a kindred spirit. His second single from Sun was covered by legendary Charlie Feathers. His third Sun single was recorded by Elvis Presley. The Beatles recorded many of his songs in their official catalog and BBC recordings. John Lennon recorded him. Eric Clapton played with him. Ringo Starr, Dave Edmunds, great friends. Roy Orbison, Bo Diddley, legendary Chuck Berry, keeping his friendship with the Beatles through his whole life and becoming the legendary icon that we all know today, even writing a song with Bob Dylan. It's the king of rockabilly, the rockin' guitar man, Carl Perkins, with his dance album, a cornerstone rock and roll album, today on another vinyl show. Ike Frasier Industries presents another vinyl show with Ike Frasier. Hey everybody, it's your old pal Ike Frasier, and today on another vinyl show we're going to be talking about the classic Carl Perkins album, one of the founding cornerstones of rock and roll, the dance album. Now this is the brand new pressing from our good friends at Intervention Records. Cool sticker they sent. I paid for this record myself. I'm not sponsored by anybody, as we all know. And I just wanted to say it's a really great pressing. They took a lot of care for it. It comes in a bag with a sticker, which was really cool for them. And I put it in one of my resealable bags. But it has liner notes with it, a little liner sheet. It's really sweet, but it really came packaged well in a really thick box with a lot of padding in there. They go back to the original label on there. That's what most of the real ones look like. That's what the Sun label was, but most of the time you'll see a different label, and we'll get into that in just a second. And the cover, they took a lot of great strides. There's a lot of videos from them online about how they really tried to get the color scheme on this record right. And of course it has a cardboard gut and just beautiful. It has writing on the spine, which the original did not. And I used to have an original dance album. And the first pressing of the dance album and Johnny Cash's album, the Red and Blue Guitar, or Hot and Blue Guitar, I forget the exact title of it, but Sun 1220 and Sun 1225 have about the worst made covers in the world, where almost all of them are completely seam split. It's incredible how bad they are. And Sam changed the design of the cover to where the front wrapped around to the back, and it was a laminated slick, but not for Johnny Cash or Carl Perkins' first album. So to get a dance album in really good shape is really hard, at least for the cover, and it just splits right through there. But this has a great cover. It's solid, it's sturdy, it feels really good. The record plays at 45, as I guess you guys might have heard already, and it sounds incredible. It really sounds great. It jumps out of the speakers just like good Carl Perkins records should. And I just wanted to tell you guys, I've been a Carl Lee Perkins fan, of course, since the Beatles, right? Because that's how I found out about him. And then I got a Rhino's Greatest Hits. But here's actually my old 50s card, and I found this a long time ago, and it's funny, but that is a Carl Perkins fan club card from the 50s. And even on the bottom of it, it says that he's a Sun Records artist. So it's a little cool little card there for old Carl. We love him a lot. But in the video coming up, you'll see we go into this other pressing, which was from ORG for Record Store Day. And that was a beautiful blue vinyl, very light blue. And so all of the Sun albums are coming out now on colored vinyl. So that's really exciting. So almost all of them are out now, but how great this album is and how influential. Of course, everybody knows Blue Suede Shoes, and a lot of people say that Elvis did better with it, but actually Carl did. Carl had the record go gold instantly, practically. Elvis's didn't go gold till 1999. So, of course, obviously, his Blue Suede Shoes was a bigger success than Elvis's. But sure to fall on here, Ringo covers that, Paul McCartney covers Movies Mag, Gone, Gone, Gone. Of course, George does it with him. Honey Don't, Beatles do it. Only You, Ringo, of course, covers that. Tennessee, the Beatles do that during the Get Back sessions. Wrong Yo-Yo was what the conversation was when they met. I have not heard a Beatle version of that, but they say there's one of that and Boppin' the Blues with McCartney. Your True Love, they do that, Matchbox, and Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby, of course. It's just a great record, and Carl writes his own songs, or at least arranges very old songs at least, but most of the songs are written by Carl Perkins. He plays the lead guitar on those songs, he rearranges them, and they record them till they really get that feeling, and it's just a great, great album. So you got to check that out, and I give the kudos there to the people at Intervention. But as like we were talking about, the most reissues use that label right there with the rooster, and it's kind of based on the 78 label. But the actual label of most Sun LPs is supposed to be like that. And the title or the artist should never be in the Sunray, because that's like the 65 copy. So that's how it's supposed to look. It's really great. Kudos to them. Here's another one, the best of the Sun Records sessions that came out. And this one was from the same company that did the Translucent. And of course it has a couple of great outtakes on there and a strange version of Dixie Fried, an alternate take of that, but that one was on Red. When Carl went on to Columbia, he did a lot of great stuff, and I recommend that Bear Family box set back there. That's got everything from Carl in the 50s, and that was the first time I heard this great one right here, which is an all-time favorite of mine now, Hollywood City. That's a Columbia one from him. And it was really great stuff. So Carl never stopped really having great records, and then later on that record, Carl Perkins on Top, he writes a song with Bob Dylan. So like he never stops making great music, and he's great. Like I had to say this, it was the most infectious laugh in the world. Like when I hear Carl Perkins laugh, it just makes me feel better no matter what kind of mood. He's just got a really great, great laugh. He's a great, great guy. We miss him a lot, but we're gonna talk about what? What were we talking about? Oh, that's right. We're talking about the incredible dance album. So I hope everybody enjoys the video that's coming up. To all our new viewers and likers, and especially you subscribers out there, we appreciate you coming along for the ride and hanging. And like everybody says, oh, the All Mama's Children, well, it was never on the original pressing, but some of the Charlie pressings in the 80s put it on there. But since Intervention Records was trying to make this as close to the original release as possible, they still put All Mama's Children on the cover, even though it's not on the album. And so like they say back here, it's 100% analog. Just incredible. It sounds great. I give it an A+. They claim that this is the first time that the master tapes have been out in decades, so that's really, really cool. And it really, really sounds good, so I don't doubt it at all. So if you guys don't have a Carl Perkins record, it's the dance album. This is like Beatles 1957. And that's another point too, right? When did it come out? Did it come out 57? Did it come out 58? Some people say it's a late 57 record. Some people say it's a early 58, but does it really matter? Not really, because it's one of the greatest records that you can have in your record collection, no matter it's a reissue or this one, or of course the beautifully expensive original 1958 pressing. The dance album, it's just the best. Like Carl Perkins, it's honest, pure music that gives you the bop and the boogie. But I'm Ike Frasier, and we'll see you again. You guys enjoy the Carl Perkins video, and I'll see you next time. In 1954, a new song was on the radio, Blue Moon of Kentucky. And when Valda Perkins started listening to the radio, she thought she really recognized that song. And it was by a young Elvis Presley, the newest star on Sun Records. Well, when her husband, Carl Lee Perkins, got home, he heard that song too, and he said, you know what, there's a man in Memphis and he knows exactly what I'm doing. So the Perkins brothers headed to Memphis, and they had an audition with Sam Phillips in October of 1954, and when they recorded Carl's songs Movies Mag, about taking his horse and his girlfriend to the movies. It's a really great song, and it's really a lot of fun. And at Sun, things were really starting to rock there. So they decided that the next single on Sun was going to be Mystery Train by Elvis Presley. And Mystery Train comes out in August of 1955. And Sam Phillips has got a lot of action going on with these later Elvis Presley Sun singles. And then Colonel Tom shows up, starting poking his nose into everybody's business. And he takes over Elvis. And then Carl Perkins says, well, I can rockabilly myself, and he records Gone, Gone, Gone in October 1955. And that is the next Sun single after Elvis. Well, while all this is going on and everybody's touring the South, the sad news that Elvis Presley is going to leave Sun Records in November of 55 because Colonel Tom has got a deal with RCA Records. And here we see Steve Sholes and Elvis Presley, and everybody is excited to get Elvis on RCA, so excited that they pay Sam Phillips $35,000. And that gives Sam the room to do some more experimentation at Sun and promote other artists besides his biggest star, Elvis, at the time. So the Perkins brothers are back for their third batch of sessions, and that is with W.S. Fluke Holland, Clayton, Jay, and Carl Perkins, and they go and record a song that Carl had just previously written and called Sam on the Telephone, and that song is now the legendary Blue Suede Shoes. And Blue Suede Shoes was recorded 3 takes. The second take was used for the master, and here we see the beautiful 78 on the Sun label with the rooster. It was also released on 45 with Honey Don't as the B-side. And of course, we all know that one, recorded by Ringo. Blue Suede Shoes, of course, runs up the charts, and it's one of the first ever songs to be in the top 5 of pop, R&B, and country. Now, some claim it went to number 1, but it did not go to number 1 in every one of those because Elvis Presley held it back with Heartbreak Hotel on the pop charts, and here we see Elvis's Blue Suede Shoes. Now, Elvis's Blue Suede Shoes was released as a single after Carl Perkins, and of course, Carl Perkins at the time sold more copies. His sold 1 million copies. His next single would have been Sure to Fall, but I guess they decided to cancel it because it's a little more country than the hot rockabilly sound of Blue Suede Shoes. Carl, being the first person to get 1 million selling record at Sun, receives a Cadillac
on the
from
way
Sam
to
Phillips.
We're on the way to be seen on the Perry Como show.
They're in a terrible car accident. Now, this car accident not only sets them back, but Carl tells the story of how he is sitting in the hospital bed watching Elvis play Blue Suede Shoes on the Dorsey Brothers show. But Carl's next single that would come out was Boppin' the Blues, and that went all the way to number 9 on the country charts. It did not do as well, but in Cashbox it went to number 47, so that's a pop crossover from country right there. And then in Billboard, sadly, it only went to number 70. Now, that wasn't too good for Carl, and it wasn't really the best follow-up to Blue Suede Shoes, but Johnny and Carl start writing some songs together while they're on tour, and one of those is All Mama's Children, and we see the Sun label for that. That was the B-side of Boppin' in the Blues right there, and his next single was going to be the incredible Dixie Fried. Now, he wrote Dixie Fried with a DJ, and that went country and western number 10, so that was a lot bigger hit than people think Dixie Fried was, but it was a country hit, not a pop hit. And it, of course, was released on 78 and 45. Now, the next one is a real rocker, Matchbox. Jerry Lee comes in and he plays the piano on Matchbox. And, of course, Matchbox is recorded by the Beatles and many other people. But actually, it is inspired when Carl's father tells him about a song that really he doesn't know all the words to, and Carl takes it from there, but it's Blind Lemon Jefferson's Matchbox Blues. Basically, Carl rewrites the whole song. At the same session is the $1 Million Quartet with Johnny Cash, Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis. Rex Griffin wrote the classic Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby, which Carl must have heard 9 years earlier than his recording. And the Platters, they had the big hit Only You, and Carl does kind of a country version of Only You on the dance album. And his next single, Your True Love on Sun, would become another classic country single, and Your True Love made it on the country western charts to number 13. Well, the next single was another great song, but not a success. Forever Yours is a sweet country ballad, and again, it has a B-side written by Johnny and Carl, and That's Right, which had an edited version in the UK because booger has a different meaning over there. But in Canada,
Carl also found success with Blue Suede Shoes, and Sun Records was distributed in Canada by Quality Records. And here we see the Quality Records 78 RPM of Blue Suede Shoes, and we see Carl with the president of Quality right there. It, of course, was released on 45 as well, and personally, my opinion, the best cover that the dance album ever had was the Canadian album. Carl is looking really sharp on there with that gold top Les Paul, and here we see the original blue label from Quality in Canada. Those are very, very nice. And in the UK, well, we know that Carl was a huge success in the UK because that band we all love, the Beatles, they just devoured every Carl Perkins song that they could hear. Now, Sun Records was distributed by London Records in the UK, and they, of course, here's a beautiful copy of Blue Suede Shoes. It went to number 10 in the UK. So that is a huge success for Sun Records. It's becoming a hit all around the world. And here we see the UK London album cover, which most people consider the poorest cover for that album. But Carl's success was a little fleeting, and as time went by, the great happiness of the gold records had passed. Johnny Cash was a little frustrated because Sam spent a lot of his time paying attention to his newest artist, Jerry Lee Lewis, and he kind of put Carl and Johnny Cash on the back burner, and both of them felt a little left behind. So secretly, behind everybody's back, there was some meetings, and in late 1957... Johnny Cash and Carl Perkins leave Sun Records for Columbia. And Johnny would go on to great success, and Carl's first single would be Pink Pedal Pushers, which is a really, really fun song. It's got a big sound to it, and Jive After Five, which does have a lot of jive to it. And here we see the first pressing of that. Well, while Carl was on Columbia, Sam at Sun in 1958 re-released some of his songs in the EP format, and this would be the last Sun EP, Sun EP A115. And that's got 4 great songs from Carl Perkins, and these are pretty hard to find. Then in 1961, there's no more covers for the dance album, so Sam prints these new covers the Philips Records style way of his other label with laminated fronts and puts it out as Teen Beat, although it does not say Teen Beat on the label. Now, in the UK, they had a big revival of rockabilly music in the late 70s and early 80s, and in 1981, Charlie Records leased the Sun material, and they started putting out all of that great Sun music in the UK and then the US, but they altered the label to kind of look like a hybrid between the 78 label. October 21st, 1985, what a night. HBO, Carl Perkins and Friends, Blue Suede Shoes, a rockabilly session. What a celebration of Carl Perkins and the 30th anniversary of Blue Suede Shoes. If you haven't seen that, you're missing out on one of the greatest musical performances of all time. I tell you what, Carl had a big heart, as we all know, and he went and played at the Music for Montserrat after the devastating, earthquake and volcano there. And Carl passed away January 19th, 1998, forever missed and forever loved. But in 2003, his old pal, Paul McCartney, took control of his publishing, and so MPL Communications now is control of the Carl Lee Perkins music catalog. So the publishing for all those great songs, his old pal Paul is taking care of those for him, which is really sweet and shows what a great heart Paul McCartney had and a great friendship with Carl Perkins. Now, we see here the RSD 2015 pressing. Now, this is a really nice one. It's a translucent blue. And these aren't very expensive, and they're probably digitally mastered because, like, the spacing is very much like a CD between the songs for sure. But there were 1,000 of those pressed, and they're really, really nice. But later, they came out with this tricolor version. Now, it's the same company as we see right here, and they just used the same master and made a tricolor pressing. But it's really sweet if you look at it, and it's all the colors of the dance album. And here we go. It's the big time now. What are the values of these original Carl Perkins rockabilly records? Well, they're all treasures. anyone you should value just yourself by owning it. And so here we go. Oh man, Blue Suede Shoes, an original 1955 Sun record. Now these, not super expensive, but a pretty cool mint clean copy, $120 on eBay.
Here we see the original Blue Suede
Shoes. On Discogs, they
1955,
sold a clean copy for $68
RPM.
Was the top price on
eBay,
that.
$255. The Canadian Dance Album, 1958, just really beautiful right there. Discogs, $170, and on eBay that one went for an incredible $305. Of the 78 of Gone, Gone, Gone. Now that one right there is much sought after because that's really Carl's first rocking hit. $350 on eBay for a clean 78 of that. And the 1955 45, which could have push marks or not push marks depending on the pressing plant, $428 on eBay for that one. Teen Beat, the 1961 reissue. Well, Teen Beat went for $400 on eBay for a really clean copy, and on Discogs $405. So that's pretty consistent between those. The Sun EP, $115. This is a pretty hard one to get, and on Discogs $776, and the top price on eBay $820. Carl's first 45 on Flip, the subdivision of Sun Records. I think they only released like 3 records. Discogs $996. eBay $1,435. The 78. 1955 78 RPM in near mint condition. eBay $1,400, and on Discogs $2,000. The original 1957 or 1958 dance album, depending on whether you believe it's December or January. Discogs $1,750, and eBay $3,175. We love Carl Perkins, and we dedicate this episode to him and all of his great rockabilly music. We really thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.